All right, all right, all right. Follow the instructions. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. And once again, this is the Truth Be Told Flex podcast. We are back, and it is um, August 12th,
All day long.
all day long. It's August 12th, the year 2021, on the day that the Greeks call what? Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah. You with me? You with me? I am your host, Shir Yeshua Judah, and we have my lovely wife sitting down with us once again. We got a pretty good show wrapped up for you today. Um, we're gonna get right to it. We got quite a few topics, so we're not gonna do a whole long big intro. So what we got? What we got going up first?
So the first thing that I wanted to bring to the table today is an article I read that I shouldn't say took me by surprise, or I should say I shouldn't have been surprised, but it still shocked me to read what I'm about to share with you.
Okay.
So imagine, if you will, in Ohio, we have a situation of two different women, two different lives, commit similar crime.
Okay.
One of them receives 18 months in prison. The other one receives 2 months probation. One of them stole 40K in funds. The other one stole 200 plus K. One of them received probation or had the option to receive probation up to 3 years. That was on the table from the prosecutor. The other, I'm not sure what what the prosecutor recommended, suggested, but I can imagine it wasn't too much. If anything, they recommended, because it's not even shared in the article. What is shared is this other individual stole for a short period of time, from maybe July of 2017 through June of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
The other stole for over a period of 20 years. One of them stole some funds, school fundraiser funds, drill team, band kids, the fundraisers that they bring in. This is what she stole. While the other one stole money from residents who came in to pay their utility bill, their water bill to be exact.
Okay.
They come pay in cash, she pocket the cash, or however she decided
probably
to do
it. Probably pocketing, some of it, not all of it, right?
Probably.
Right. Pay $200, she keep 150.
Something along those lines.
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years. You remember when we were kids, you were sharing something, you get two. Right. I get two, you get one. Right. I keep two, you keep one. That's what it sounded like was happening here. But having said that, two kind of similar crimes. There are obviously some variations in the two, but what do you think is the biggest difference in this entire thing?
Race.
How could it not be?
Race.
The lady who received 18 months in prison, stole 40K, had probation on the table, up to 3 years. That's what the prosecutors suggested. That's what they recommended. That's what they put on the table for her. Black lady, $40,000 over the course of a year, a little over a year.
Right.
While the other individual stole $200,000, $200,000+.
Nah, she stole more than that, because she was stealing $20,000 a year. So when I did the math on that, I got $400,000 at least, because it says she was stealing more than $20,000.
Okay.
So at least $400,000 is what she stole over a 20-year period, right?
Okay.
The question I want to ask, though, because at the bottom of this article, it also says that, and I'm gonna show this part here. I want to show this part. The bottom of this article, it says that cases like these point out the need for the system to do a better job. So the question I'm asking is the system broke?
Been broke. What kind of question is that?
I don't believe it's broke.
Well, I know the vein about in which you're about to speak on this, and I completely get it. I'll let you say it, and I completely get it. But for all intents and purposes of what we know, we were told the system is broke.
Okay, and you can look at it like that. Yeah, the system is broke, but no, the system is not broken. I know that, one cancel out the other, but it don't, because as you say, I'm going to say it, right? Because that's what I do. The system is working exactly the way that it's supposed to work. What are officers? Officers are originally what? Overseers. Who did the overseers oversee? They oversaw. However you say, you the English major. What's the right way of saying that? They oversaw the Negroes, right? For who? The cast crew.
Correct.
So, but in this case right here, the law protected who they were supposed to protect, which was the white lady.
Okay. I'm not disagreeing with you. All I'm saying is you and I both know that that's the truth. That's really what happened. But for the gin pop, if you will, the law is set up, or so we've been taught, to convict wrong, protect the innocent. Right. Both of them were wrong.
Both of them was wrong.
I can't deny the lady never said she didn't do it. She pled guilty. She never said she didn't do it. However, why the varying sentences? Why such a difference between the two? And if you want to dig a little deeper, one of the things that I found most interesting is it never mentions what happens to this other lady. I imagine she got fired. I imagine she lost her job. She got fired. There was no, hey, when you get out, come back and see us. Your job will still be here waiting for you. I can't imagine that was the case. She was flat out fired.
She was probably flat out fired and probably left with humiliation.
Oh, of course.
I'm $40,000.
I'm sure she's humiliated.
Which is not chump change. Don't get me wrong. I'm not making light of what this lady did by no means, right? She was wrong and she deserved to be punished for her wrong.
Agreed. But the crime or the time has to fit the crime, or you would expect that the decision that the judges made, because it was two separate judges. Let me point that out. There were two different judges in this situation. One judge sentenced one person, another judge sentenced the other person. However, they were within a day of each other.
Exactly.
So how can you have two very similar situations, albeit, I get it, two different judges, come out with two very different outcomes?
I would have been feeling great if I was Carla Hopkins, right? I'm going to be honest with you, because the day before, Carla Hopkins, I would have been feeling great if I was Carla, because the day before, that someone went into the courtroom, and you can say all you want that these were similar crimes, right? They're not similar to me.
No, I agree. They are not similar. However, it's of the same type.
It's of the same type, exactly. But as I was saying, it's not similar to me because one, $40,000 for stealing for less than a year. 11 months, right? The other one, over $400,000. And even how they wrote up the article, right? That's huge. That's a $200,000 number that you left out of the article. You see what I'm saying? And they only talking about what the police they got the $200,000.
What they seized from her account.
Yeah, seized from her account, right? But she had been stealing for over 20 years. So if anybody should have got what you just said, the punishment must fit the crime, right? If anyone should have, they don't even give Debbie Bosworth age. This was a 51-year-old lady here. If anyone you think should have received probation, it should have been Carla Hopkins, right? 11 months of thieving, only $40,000. But this other one, you were a repeat offender for 20 years.
Yep.
You were a repeat offender for 20. Oh. You had a whole system down.
So if you pay attention to how the article is written. Also, you'll see that.
Who is she paying? Because you can't be stealing for that daggum long and not nobody know about it.
It depends on who keeps the books. I have heard situations, I have heard stories where somebody was stealing money for a really long time and nobody knew they were skimming money.
Okay.
Nobody had any idea they were skimming the money. Having said that, though, I think what is important to pay attention to is how this information was presented in the article, how the article was written. Because while you have a lot of facts on what happened with both, there are very significant details to me that were left out of the article. Not sure who you're supposed to be, if you're supposed to be feeling sorry for one versus the other. I would say the other lady looks probably in her 60s. She got a mask on, but you know how we age. She looked like she might be in her 60s. So she looked like she's probably a fairly older lady, probably older than the white lady. But having said all that, what I think is most interesting in this case is how, what's the white lady's name again?
Debbie Bosworth.
Debbie Bosworth was able to walk away from her situation.
She's still spending money that she done stole.
Hold on, because we never even outlined how she walked away.
Right.
She resigned from her job.
Right.
And kept her pension. 2 months.
Not fired.
2 months probation for stealing in upwards of $200,000+.
That's a retirement pension.
Over a 20-year period.
So they still allowed her to retire. Basically.
She resigned. They allowed her to resign.
Stealing people's money.
When she got caught in 2019,
right,
she started paying it back. Now, what the article doesn't say is whether or not when she started paying it back, if she had already resigned at that point. The article doesn't give you that information, so I'm not sure at what point she started paying the money back.
I wonder how that conversation went in HR. Right? I mean, how you get the option to resign after you have been found out that you have been stealing people's bill money for over 20 years?
It happens more often than you think. I have actually witnessed this happen. It happens more often than you think. You bring somebody in, have a conversation with them, let them know the information that you have found, and you would be surprised how many people make the decision to resign. They say, you know what? Okay, I see where this is going. I just like the opportunity to resign right now.
You know, another thing about this that infuriates me, man, and I say what I say, and I mean it, the law in this country, and this is one of the things, and I'm saying this because I want our people to understand that we're not Americans. You know, I've been saying this for a long time, right? We're here. You know what I'm saying? Right. And once you understand that, you would better be able to navigate your way through this place. You see, what's so unfortunate about this is that 9 times out of 10, we don't know the backstory of either one of them. But 9 times out of 10, Carla Hopkins probably needed this Sherwood. You know what I'm saying? The money that she was taking. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not fit to try to sit here and paint a picture as to her doing this and, you know what I'm saying, being right or whatever. But when them other folks do stuff like that, man, it be greed.
Well, and I've seen it happen in both situations.
Now, $40,000 is a lot of money, though.
It absolutely is a lot of money. So I can't ride with you that she probably needed.
Right.
Truth be told, I need $40,000.
She probably sending her grandson to college.
Look, we're not gonna speculate. I need $40,000 right now. We need to put our son through college. But having said all that, I still think it has to be noted that there is something in this country that has never changed. And that's the systematic racism that continues to happen. And when you talk about how we are affected versus how white people are typically affected, you're going to get varying arguments
amongst our own people,
from both sides of the fence.
Even amongst our own people. That's why I say I never trust a black man who would tell me that he don't experience racism in this country. I don't. If those words ever come out of your mouth as a black man or a black woman, I immediately stop trusting you at that moment. Everything that you're saying right now is like Charlie Brown.
So you stopped trusting Lil Wayne?
Long time ago. Well, I ain't trust him to begin with. He looked like a roach, man.
Okay.
Didn't trust him to begin with. But again, like she say, man, there is something definitely wrong with this country. I mean, same state, same court, two different judges, of course, but at 51 years old, probably never been in trouble a day in her life. She get 18 months in prison. And I don't see how, and while the other lady gets to go home and spend her money,
her pension, and that other $200,000
that she got exactly. So it's time for us to go to Big Business by Page of the Hebrew. This is free play. The name of the song is Big Business. This is Paisley and also Abar, the Rock Abar. And his name is fitting because all that brother do is spit bars, man. Here we go.
Big business.
RSK, let it play, boy.
When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers. When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers. I wake up and say me a prayer. Brush my teeth, babe, then I throw on some threads. Wash my face, grab a cup, pour me some yum. Put on my backpack, then I'm off to the bread. I eat these devils for breakfast, gotta be careful. Whole lot of blood being shed in the streets. World is so wicked, I weep for the living. I drop a free cheer for the dead. All my white friends in my pocket, or either they loading onto this black card that I swipe. Say every time that I drop it, the verses be hitting more harder than problems of life. Rich, I collected 2 pennies from every person that willingly gave me advice. Being afraid can't exist in my spirit. I'm fearing no man but the Father in Christ. I put in work with the brothers. We stood on them corners from 10 to like 9 at night, teaching our people the gospel, equipped with a camera, some posters, some speakers, and mic. Every time that I see mama, she telling me, son, you gotta walk in the light. Christ, the bread of heaven, keep feeding my spirit, and I wanna load, not a slide. When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers. When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers.
When I tell you I'm an Israelite, tribe of Judah, don't you take it personal. Bleed the blood on these demons, we purging them. Don't entertain Jezebels, we be curving them. Ayy, I got a ribbon, she virtuous. In person, this blue life ain't virtual. I can't forget when I heard the truth. I got cut with that word, it got surgical. Conviction can lead to repentance. I pray these verses encourage you. We repented, now we on the vertical. Judah rising, see Isaiah 32. Big business, nothing minuscule. I picked up that pen back in middle school. Guard your light and take heed who you listen to. Watch your mouth and your ears and your vision too. Hashatan and Shalkani won't finish you. In Mortal Kombat, this war is not physical. Gird your loins up and follow the general. Messiah is coming, that's scriptural. You gotta starve your flesh. The real war ain't even started yet. This look like a setup for a second exodus. I'm trying to be where the water at. Let's get it.
When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers. When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers.
Big business, nothing miniature. That is Paige to the Hebrew and the Rock our bar. And sitting here talking to the wife, I was like, say, Paige came in and killed it. And then the Rock our bar just came in and just slaughtered it. I mean, it was just that was some insane stuff right there. I enjoyed it. But getting on with the show. I'm not gonna lie to you, baby. I kind of get tired myself of talking about the hangover. I get tired of talking about the cocktail. But they run this stuff so much to the point to where if nothing don't come out to combat it, all you're going to get is this is the world that we live in too, right? I know you hate when I do that. I start something and I don't finish it. So I apologize, right? But this is the world that we live in where you only get one side. Just think if a quarter only had one side. You don't have that eagle on the back. It'd probably look better. But anyway, it wouldn't be a two-headed coin, right? Everything that come out to combat anything that they are saying, you know what they call it? Misinformation.
It's funny you said that because I was just about to say another term they've coined is cocktail hesitancy. If
people, we don't have a reason to be.
If you have other thoughts, if you have your own mindset, you want some more research. Anything that does not put you in a position to say, I'm doing this and I'm doing it now. Let's move forward. I want this cocktail. Then they have coined this term called cocktail hesitancy.
And anybody that says anything about the cocktail that don't agree with what they say, they paint them out to be bad people.
Because they wanted to be the bad guys.
They wanted to be the bad guys, right? This article, I'm gonna pull it up. Just another day in America. But this actually is not in America. What country is this? Portugal?
Well, right? that's where the people who passed away were when they passed away.
Were they from America? They're not.
No, they're not Americans. No.
So you see the title here. It says that man entire family dies of COVID in the same week after refusing the vaccination. Now, in this article, what they did was they just gave a rundown on how all of them died, right? I want to point out though, like I say, and this is where it's at right here. It says, according to Wales Online, Francis, pronounce that,
Goncalves
family, located in Portugal, had resisted the vaccine due to frightening anti-vaccine misinformation. What makes it misinformation?
Because it's not what the popular reviews are. It's not what the CDC is saying. It's not what the world leaders. It's not what the experts are saying.
What makes them experts?
Because they said they were.
Because they said they were. Exactly. I just came across some information about the CDC that I want to share. CDC was on this. I don't know if I shared this in the last episode or not. If so, you're going to get it twice. The CDC was on its way of being disbanded, done away with. In 1981, when Ronald Reagan took office. And this kind of ties in with one of the stories that we're going to get to. They tried to do the exact same thing that they're doing right now back in 1976, which was mandate a vaccine, right? And guess who had to take the vaccine first? The military, right? So when the military took the vaccine, then the population took the vaccine. 26 people died from the vaccine. So they immediately stopped the program.
Wait, they did what?
They immediately stopped the program after 26 deaths from the vaccine.
Huh.
I know we're up in the numbers of thousands of deaths. And this is what's funny is because they will push these articles out of people dying because they don't want the cocktail, right? But they would post an article of people dying after the cocktail, but they always have, but there's a reason for that.
Right.
As if it's not just the cocktail.
They got a rebuttal.
They got a rebuttal for it, right? So back to the story, man. After that, Ronald Reagan get in office in 1981. He stopped funding them. The same thing that Trump did. Don't you find that
interesting? Yeah.
That two Republican, and hey, they got a lot of similarities. They were both movie stars too. Hey, something about the movie stars. But anyway, he stopped funding them. So in Atlanta, where CDC is located, they started having notes up on the wall saying we have to find another pandemic because they was about to be done away with. These are the experts. These are the same people.
They were trying to find a way to keep their job, keep their funding.
Exactly. And so out comes HIV and AIDS. From HIV and AIDS, that brought them back to life. And here we are again. What kind of world will we be living in today without a CDC?
Right. I don't know how many people also know that there's some history behind it. And I won't go into it, but the CDC changed their name a couple of different times.
Did not know that.
The CDC is actually the Center for Disease Control and Prevention.
Okay.
However, due to some legal reasons, they still just refer to as the Center for Disease Control or the CDC. Okay. But it is the CDC and Prevention. And I think that came about in like 1991, 92, something along those lines.
Right. No, I did not know that, man.
Yeah.
But can you imagine, though, that in 1976, when they realized that 26 people died from their vaccine, right? They shut the whole program down. The last article that I read, we were up to 943 deaths from the cocktail. That was the last thing that I read. I don't know where it's at now because that was a couple of weeks ago, but they still pumping this thing out.
Well, I don't remember exactly where I heard it. I wish I had thought about it sooner, but you do recall there were some individuals making the statement that one death from receiving the cocktail was worth all the lives that it was going to save.
That's exactly what they
said. So that's how they justify it.
This is how they justify it.
And of course, in conjunction with what you said earlier, is that there's always a reason behind why the person died. It's never just the cocktail. Right. It's always, there was something else going on. There was some underlying situation that caused them, but they didn't die from the cocktail. That didn't happen.
You got something else on this here?
We kind of already touched on it. I just found it interesting that people who initially had what we called cocktail hesitancy, misinformation, who weren't quite sure that this is something that they wanted to do. They were hesitant for whatever reasons they were hesitant. Their reasons could be different for 100 different reasons, but what I found interesting is that you had two elderly parents.
I'm going to go to a commercial break in a minute. Go ahead. Two
elderly parents, 73 and I want to say 60 something years old, and their son who also died, who was healthy, like extremely healthy, no underlying conditions. When this first came out, who knows if it was the Delta variant or not, but when this first came out, what did they say? If you no underlying health conditions, you should be fine.
Right.
You should be fine.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, it doesn't matter what your health condition is.
Don't nothing matter now all of a sudden. It don't even matter if you cocktailed up, you still got to wear your mask. It don't matter if you cocktailed up, you still you are carrying. You can spread the virus to other people. It don't matter
even if
that's what I said. If you fully cocktailed up, don't nothing matter no more. So my question is, for why?
Agreed.
For why?
Agreed.
Why? This is, and I don't know if I'm articulating this right. Let's go to a commercial break and we'll finish it on the way back. Here we go. Hebrew artists out there that want to get your music spent, email your MP3 to info@kingdomcultureradio.com. If you don't know Sister Delta by now, I don't know what rock you've been up under, but she will get your music played on Kingdom Culture Radio. This is a platform that she be on. She also do a lot of interviews on there as well. And for $10, man, she will spin your records. Now, every song must be reviewed, and it also must be approved before they play it on Kingdom Culture Radio. But again, $10, get your music played, and email your MP3 to info@kingdomculture.com. Let's get back to what we was talking about, baby. Go ahead and finish.
All right. So the last thing I was just going to point out that I thought was interesting. I'd like to do some more research on this to find out why this is the case. It's got to be something political, but the article specifically pointed out that this family that passed away, and they all died within days of each other. I think the son died like on the 18th. Mm-hmm. Then the dad died on the 20th, and then the mom on the 23rd.
Right.
So yeah,
24th.
Okay, on the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
They were all buried in the same cemetery. Mm-hmm. No shocker there, but in a COVID specific location.
Designed for COVID related deaths.
So anybody who dies of COVID and is buried in this cemetery, they have a specific section that they're buried in.
Why?
That's what I said. I need to do some more research on that. But I think it's interesting. Maybe somebody else knows. And if they do know, maybe they can reach out and let us know what the specific reason is. But I thought that was interesting. To me, I liken it, or I think about when you have people who die in the military, mm-hmm. they have specific areas that mm-hmm. they are buried in. They, specific to, they were in the Navy, or they were in the Marines, or whatever branch of the military they were in, but they're still buried in a specific location.
Right.
Presidents are buried in a specific location. How in the world did they decide? Is this just this cemetery?
Right.
Is it all cemeteries?
Right. If you die from COVID, can you not be? I mean, I guess you can spread the disease to the dead.
Stop.
I mean,
I will say that that thought did cross my mind for like a split second, but as crazy as it sounds coming out your mouth, is as crazy how it sounded in my head. So
we got to protect the life. America got to protect the live and the dead, man, because this is America. You understand?
Hey,
this is America. Now, before we get away from this story, we cannot leave without letting it be known that a family member, right? One of the remaining family members, he is speaking up about the experience in order to advocate to others to get vaccinated. This is what these stories are all about. You can get on YouTube right now and click in anti-vaxxer death. You will find many of them. Same thing with articles, and every last one of them is going to end with the same thing, that now they are advocating that you got to take the vaccine, that this is real. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I apologize. There's an article tied into this particular article that talks about literally the same thing. A 28 or 25-year-old man, maybe he was 28, but he and his wife had different opinions on the cocktail. She got her first dose of the cocktail. She got her first shot of the cocktail, and he did not. Mm-hmm. She says that he was a TikTok conspiracy theorist, mm-hmm. meaning he got online, saw these conspiracies mm-hmm. on TikTok about
we the devil
about the cocktail, and he decided he wasn't interested. Mm-hmm. He didn't want the cocktail. She decided to get it, and they are saying the reason she survived, because they both ended up inebriated, if you will. But they're saying the reason she survived is because she had at least one dose.
How does she know that?
That's not what she's saying. That's what the doctors and the experts have said to her. But now she's advocating.
So what about all of these people?
But she said on his deathbed.
Yeah, I wish I had it.
I wish I had taken it. and everybody should get it.
Just like that gun commercial me and Oxify was laughing at with that guy sitting up there with them MP3 headphones all sticking up in his nose, looking like he on ventilators and stuff, talking about, I can't breathe. I wish I had took the vaccine and now I'm going to die. And he died. Mm-hmm. He died. How you give a whole interview about you dying? You done documented. The only person I thought was bad enough to do that is Morgan Freeman. You know, he who documented his birth when he came in. Right. I am Morgan Freeman.
That's a horrible.
But it says that, but he went on, and this is the family member. We're going to move on from this. It says it preys on people who are afraid. I didn't know that the virus had emotions like this, but it preys on people who are afraid and they fall into the trap. The message I want to get out is, why would the government, listen to this, why would the government want to hurt you by giving you a vaccine?
It's so innocent. Bless his heart. He's so innocent.
Somebody wrote that for him. That's a script.
It may be, but he still read it.
That's Bless his heart. What is the purpose behind it? I've spoken to so many people. I believe that message was particularly, as they say it, to people of color. We have a reason. We have 1,000,001 reasons. We have 400 years worth of reasons not to want to take the cocktail. And I sit back, I'm like Celie on Color Purple, for real. I sit back and I just watch what's happening, and I'm saying to myself, I'm looking like, y'all fools. I have no other words of saying it. And then they use the greatest Trojan horse of all, which is our people, to get on there and an advocate to take it. What's that food name? Vax that thing up. They got songs about it. They got commercials with thugs on it talking about, I'm a hustler. I'm out here in these streets. And so I meet people all the time. So I got to get the vaccine.
You mentioned that. I still have not seen that. I'm pretty sure I don't want to see it either. But yeah, what's the term is sheep being led to the slaughter. And that's our viewpoint on it, right? I do still firmly believe that people who decide to get it, okay, fine, they decide to get it. Do I think people should be getting the cocktail? I don't. Right. There's just not enough information, even though they're saying, we're not even going to get into all that.
Right.
The point is, there is, I'll use their term, hesitancy about it. And what is so wrong with being hesitant? I don't have to trust you because you say I should trust you. If exactly. I have my reservations, I have my reservations. I firmly believe in validating people's feelings, and that's how the people feel who are the unpopular ones.
Right. Exactly. We're going to stop for a commercial break, another one. Your Hebrew clothes, this is where you get them at, yehudastyle.com. That website is off the chain. By far. And maybe, I don't know, I think that this is probably one of the best looking clothes, the best friend shirts. He even got linen suits for you, man, running at $125. yehudastyle.com. And she also have herbs as well, health and wellness on her website. So there you go. You got it. yehudastyle.com. We're moving on. We're doing good. So we done talked about white law. We done talked about black law. The man that died that was vaccine hesitant, right? This year, when the government be your daddy. I just ran across this one here today as we were studying for the show, actually, right? The language that was used in this particular segment, where is it at? Where is the article?
The third one.
Right here?
Mm-hmm.
The language that was used in this article is something else, man. This is Margaret Hoover. I don't know how she done got up under my radar, especially talking like this. I never heard of this chick before. You familiar with her?
No.
I bet you I know her next time I talk about her, because she got my ears up, man. When the government is your daddy is what we talking about. And that's one of the things with us is people of color. We're going to use the media term, right?
Mm-hmm.
People of color love big government because the government make it attractive to people of color. More kids you have, more money we give you, right? And we'll feed you. We'll make sure you got housing. You can stay in a nice neighborhood. It's a shame, it's a shame that you got people who don't work, got a lot of kids, and my people might get mad at me what I'm finna say, but I don't care, because I work, and I work hard for what little I got. The government make it easy for people who don't work, got a lot of kids, and they stay in nice neighborhoods on a program called Section 8.
Agreed.
You have absolutely no opinion no more on what you want to do. Why? Because the government is your daddy. Mm-hmm. And listen to what Margaret Hoover said. Margaret Hoover said, and this was on a show called This Week with George
Stephanopoulos.
What kind of name is that? I don't know. But she explained that she thinks that the government should make life almost impossible for those who are unvaccinated. If you are going to get government provided health care, if you are getting VA treatment, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, anything, and Social Security obviously isn't health care, you should be getting the vaccine, okay? Because you're going to have to. We're going to have to take care of you. That's what she said. I talk to my kids like that. They ask me why. Because I pay the bills.
Because I said so.
Because I got a job. Right. We're going to have to take care of this. The government talking. We're going to have to take care of you on the back end, she said. So there's a lot of things we could do without calling it a mandate, but to just make it almost impossible for people to live their lives without being protected and protecting the rest of us. Something is not right with this. If you got it and you feel like you got it to protect yourself, what you worried about? But when you don't be worried about going through a windshield when you put a seatbelt on, do you?
No, but it's not the idea of them being worried about it. It's all about control. We get to control what you do. It is no longer your body, your choice. We talked about this a little bit last week, but at this point, they are dictating
everything.
Essentially everything, and who should get it, how they should get it, when they should get it. Because you have a lot of mandates that are coming down the pipe. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but this is where it starts. Mm-hmm. When they start deciding that if we do X, then you got to do YZ. Mm-hmm. If you don't do this, you're not going to get this.
And this is how they're going to force it too, because what's interesting is that if you listen to these people now, they're not even hiding the fact that they are controlling the situation, right? Listen to Bill de Blasio last week when we talked about him, right? You know, he just came right out and said, look, if you want to participate in our society, you got to get cocktailed up. She said, we're going to make life for you impossible. Okay, so the government not going to mandate it. Okay, fine, that's okay. You can't come eat in our restaurants, right? You can't go to concerts, to the summer concerts. You're not going to be able to do absolutely nothing,
right?
If you don't get the cocktail, right?
I think that's a nice segue into the next topic we were actually going to talk about when you start talking about mandates and the government being your daddy. Well, to some degree, the government is some of these folks' daddy. Those ones who work in that sector of the military, they're being told they gotta get it, right? But not just them. We'll get to them later because I think their situation is a little more extreme than some of the others. But
which one you want to go to?
HHSC.
HHSC?
Yeah.
Where we at?
Or I said HHSC. It's HHS. Yeah. So when you start talking about,
can you run this down for a second?
When you start talking about government mandates and who's responsible for getting vaccine, or I'm sorry, getting the cocktail, who needs to have it and why they need to have it. HHS has now dictated that they will have mandatory mandate. They're going to mandate mandatory cocktails for 25,000 plus of their employees. Those employees fall under a specific or certain banner. Of that, at least 80,000 of those employees that fall under HHS, Health and Human Services, do not have to get the cocktail. It's only the frontline healthcare workers, those that are coming in direct contact, like some of their labs, some of their health centers, any of those individuals who work in those particular entities for HHS are going to be required to get the cocktail. Not sure what the deadline is, what the exact or specific date is that they have to get it, but they do know that it's coming. The 80,000 plus employees that are left that aren't required to get the cocktail, they are going to be subjected to regular testing, whatever that looks like. Not sure if by regular they mean once a week, twice a week, 3 or 4 times a month. They haven't really dictated what that is, so it's anybody's guess. And then mask, and then they're going to restrict travel. When you start restricting people's travel, I guarantee you that 80,000 plus of those employees who are not required to have it, those numbers are going to increase in terms of who all is going to get it. Because right now, 20 to 30% of the required people to be to receive the cocktail still don't have it. So of the ones who are required to get it, 20 to 30% of those individuals still haven't gotten it. But when you start making life a little bit more difficult for them, regular testing, like I said, whatever that looks like, wearing masks, having to wear masks, and that probably isn't so bad. We did that for so long. And then restricting travel. I know of an individual in particular that was not going to get the cocktail. And they came back and specifically told me, yep, I changed my mind. I decided to get it. When they started talking about I couldn't travel, I immediately changed my mind. I had to get it.
A lot of people.
Remember
2020 when all of this was popping off before the cocktail was out? We were sitting around talking, and I made the comment. And this is why I give our praises to the Most High, because he does allow me to see stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As it's coming down the pipe. And I made the comment, I said, when that cocktail come out, I said, you're going to have people, and you saw it, right? You saw how it was going because it was the testing there, right? And you had to be negative. I said, they're going to have concerts. They're going to, whatever it is that gets you, that's what it is that they're going to have. They're going to hold over your head to make sure that you get the cocktail. There are a lot of people walking around saying, I'm not going to get it. And they really believe that. They really believe that. But when it comes down to your entertainment life, we as a man, we love entertainment.
But that's what they're going to start with, though, right?
That's what they're going to start with.
And when you have folks like Bill de Blasio saying that they're going to mandate certain things if you want to participate in this society, when they start talking like that, they go from just the entertainment and the fun stuff to more serious things. They start taking away more serious things.
Can you imagine though when these things start really popping off, the the havoc that it's going to cause in the streets.
Right.
People in America they're riding right now in France.
Right.
Why? Because of this. Because of what we're talking about right now. And one thing I know about America is, I think I know, because America's done proved me wrong a lot since March of last year and up to now, right?
Right.
One thing I think I know about them is that we don't like to be told what to do.
Right.
Right.
But that's why it's so funny, because you when we were big and heavy into wearing the face mask, you saw a lot of people having things posted either at their businesses, restaurants, on their vehicles, posting on all kinds of social medias. Just put on the mask.
Mm-hmm.
Just put on the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And now that rhetoric has changed from just put on the mask to just get the cocktail.
Don't nothing that they have asked us to do seem to work, because when we were wearing the mask, look, we'll talk. Go back to March and then go to where they started making, because at first, remember, Fauci was like, no, a mask is not going to.
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
They specifically asked him that question.
And he said it was not necessary.
No.
But he came back and said he lied because he didn't want people to be running out there buying masks, and there'd be a shortage of masks for the health workers, for the nurses. But nah, you wasn't lying. You meant what you said, right? He said a piece of cloth is not going to stop anything. That's what he said. But when they started mandating it, right, that's when numbers started spiking. Numbers started spiking. So why am I wearing a mask if the numbers continue to still going up? Same thing it is with this cocktail, right? These ridiculous numbers are the same numbers as before the cocktail of last year, if not worse now. Why? Because I'm going to say it time and time again, the cocktailed up people are the ones that's sick. You got more cocktailed up people than you got uncocktailed.
Right.
So that they got to be the problem. You saying that I'm the problem. I don't think I'm the problem. The problem is the people that got your technology in them. Go ahead. I need to let you talk. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. So I
got
read
about 7 minutes.
I read recently that 80% of the current cases are the Delta variant, right? Of this cocktail. It's a different mixture in this drink. And our good old CDC says that the cocktail is still effective to protect against it. It's still effective.
How?
How is it effective if people are still getting it?
Exactly.
To me, it makes no sense, because if I get vaccinated for chickenpox, I'm not supposed to get chickenpox.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
They started fooling people a long time ago with the flu. When you get the flu vaccine, you get shot with what is it? A dormant vaccine. It's not a live, it's not a live virus. It's a dormant virus that you're getting, which is why you end up with some of the symptoms.
Right.
They started feeding that stuff to us years and years and years ago. When they started telling people, get your flu shot, get your flu shot, and people were like, "Oh no, I don't know, I don't want to get the flu shot." And then you still had those individuals who were very adamant that they were going to get the flu shot, and they got it every single year.
Yep.
This is a much more severe case of getting your flu shot,
and they pushing this thing up under an emergency use authorized cocktail that it's not even FDA approved. I saw the video myself where the FDA said we cannot in good measures approve something that we would not give to our own family.
Yeah.
So that tells me that the people that's sitting up at the FDA, they probably still ain't got the cocktail then.
It's a strong possibility. But you know who is getting the cocktail? Who has to get it by September 15th?
The military.
The military. By September 15th, all military personnel will have to be cocktailed up. They have to receive it. The unfortunate part about that is they can't necessarily say that they can say that they don't want it, but they've got to have a legitimate, valid reason not to get it. Part of the reason that the military was sanctioned to have to go get the cocktail is because your president said the country is still on wartime footing.
He didn't lie.
Hold on. Being cocktailed up, or his words, I quote, being vaccinated will enable our service members to stay healthy, to better protect their families, and to ensure that our force is ready to operate anywhere in the world. So that tells me he anticipates something. He anticipates something happening, even though he said the world. I think it's gonna happen right here on these very grounds.
Yeah, exactly. We are in war, man. We are in war, and we walking around here excited because it's football season.
Right.
You know.
So we don't have enough time to really get into this, but I did want to leave with a thought. Or not even a thought, probably a spinoff of the rest of this. Army guidance will include counseling soldiers to ensure that they understand the purpose of the cocktail and the threat the disease poses. The Army also notes that if a soldier fails to comply with the lawful order to receive a mandatory vaccine vaccine,
talk about that at last,
and does not have an approved exemption, a commander may take appropriate disciplinary action.
Yep.
What is appropriate?
You put the cart before the horse on that one, and I said it right this time because I did want to touch on that. We got a little bit of time. I wanted to hit this right quick before we get to that, right? So we're gonna come back to that. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, right, said in mid-September deadline could be accelerated if the cocktail receives a final FDA approval or infection rates continue to rise. He says, I will seek the president's approval to make the vaccine mandatory no later than mid-September or immediately upon licensure by the FDA, whichever comes first. Austin said in his memo, warning them to prepare for the requirement. The Pentagon, this is the paragraph here. The Pentagon plan provides time for the FDA to give final approval to the Pfizer vaccine. So that means that the Pentagon is putting pressure on the FDA as well, when you read into that, right? Which is expected early next month. Without that formal approval, listen to this. Without that formal approval, Austin needs a what?
Waiver.
A waiver from Biden to make the shots mandatory. And Biden has already made clear he supports it. You support making a technology that has never been used in people mandatory.
Right.
You support making a technology that you have no idea what the long-term effects are going to be on people mandatory. You support making a cocktail that is obviously showing bad side effects, so much to the point to where Moderna and Pfizer both have had to put warning labels on the cocktail, but you support the fact to make it mandatory. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. That's an impossible task.
Now, with that being said, and we can end on what you just read, right? What is the disciplinary action if you refuse it and you are part of the United States military?
Right. What does that look like?
What does that look like?
What is that gonna look like for them? The more things change,
the more it stays the same.
The more it stays the same.
The more it stays the same. I beheld another beast come out of the earth that had two horns like a lamb, and he spoke like a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and he caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he calls all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads, so that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Where is wisdom? Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. This is where we at, people. We are living in Bible prophecy. Every day that you wake up, I put a post up the other day, said if you can read this post, take time out to give the Most High thanks. Why? Because we're living in the days of plagues. And if you was alive to see another day, you received a great present. This is Yeshua Judah. Sitting next to me is my rib.
I appreciate you letting me join the show with you again. But we need to let Oxify know he need to hurry up and get back. The seat's getting real comfortable. Real comfortable.
Hey, note taken. I'm gonna let him know.
You're missed, Oxify.
You are missed, brother. You are very missed, man. But this is Truth Be Told Flex Podcast. Until next week, Shalom. Stay safe out there, please, and be blessed.